Right, so we are on our way out of the Orchid Park. We did record lots of places, short little bursts, because there's just so many beautiful places here. It's really beautiful here. And again, I want to remind you, it's free. So come here. Don't come too many of you, because then it might not be free. But anyhow, come and enjoy it. This is really beautiful. No one here. So on our way out, I mean, there's these beautiful places. This is like kind of the entrance to this. So really beautiful orchids here. And so I just can't, it's like unending. I can't stop, right? Because ultimately, like I said just now, the Bible is unending. It's always something more. There's always more beauty to find, like in this garden. There's always more beauty to find. You can look at this flower and you can see all the colors and the different colors and etc., right? The structure of it. And you're like, man, it's so beautiful. And this is how the beauty of God, the Word of God. You, Christian, need to get excited about the Word of God. It's like botanists will get excited about these flowers. And rightfully so, they are getting excited about it. But remember, this is a creation of God, and the Word of God is so much more than that. Okay, verse 5 of chapter 8. Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. So what do you say? So the law of Moses, yes, a woman caught in adultery in the city, she ought to be stoned. I mean, that's what the law teaches, right? So what do you say? Because they want to catch Jesus. Okay, they need to get something against Jesus to convince the people, the soldiers even. Verse 6. Thus they said to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. So, like it states here, that the reason they did this is to test him, to get something against him, so that they can bring some other charge in a court of law against him. They are searching for straws. They're clutching at straws. It's not going to work. What did Jesus do? He didn't like, oh, wow, you're great, go and stone her. He just bent down and he wrote on the ground. And lo and behold, now you will find people writing books on what did Jesus wrote. So they had a drone flying overhead, and the drone saw what Jesus was writing, and I mean, Jesus was writing down all their sins, and they, oh, here's the writing, this is my sin. Okay, I need to go. Oh, here's the writing. What the heck? There was no need for Jesus to write down their personal sins there, because they were breaking the law as they were stating here. Okay. Verse 7. And as they continued to ask him, he stood up and said to them, let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. Verse 8. And once more he bent down and wrote on the ground. So his words to them was like, so those without sin, cast the first stone. And if you've ever watched a movie by Steven Spielberg's movie AI, it's one of my favorite movies. I cried. It's a movie I've watched the most in a movie theater, a lot more than Titanic, which the second most watched movie. But man, it was just so. There's a scene in the movie, and if you haven't watched AI, go and watch it. In the scene in the movie where there was this prostitute robot standing behind this boy who was like a Jesus kind of figure in the story, and the robot, that is, the boy robot. And he said the one without AI, let him cast the first stone. Now, without sin, without AI, cast the first stone, kind of. So it's clearly coming from here, okay? And yeah, we can have a whole discussion on that movie one day. I had lots of these discussions about that movie. So this is what Jesus said, without sin, cast the first stone. And what is he speaking about? So would they now admit to the fact that they are sinners? No, they would never admit to the fact that they are sinners. Because we don't have sin. We are the Pharisees. We don't sin. We are righteous, right? Ultimately, right? I mean, so Jesus said that, and so they could have, according to them, pick up stones and start throwing, but Jesus just kept on writing on the ground. And again, the drone flew overhead, and they saw that Jesus was writing, and Jesus was writing their sins down, so they saw it. And I mean, what the heck Christians will come up with these kinds of books just to sell? Well, whatever. It's nonsense. Okay, no idea what Jesus wrote there. It's not even important. Because the law of Moses states as well that the one that they caught in act, he's supposed to be here with him. So verse 9, but when they heard it, they went away one by one, beginning with the older ones, and Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. So they heard, Jesus said, they didn't say, oh, we're righteous, we're Pharisees, we never break the law. No, they're like, oh, okay. He's actually got a point here. We ought to have bring the other guy with. He's not here. Who the heck the other guy was isn't important. Maybe one of them, not important. The other guy paid money to not be brought, not important. okay, in point of fact is they broke the law, and Jesus was pointing it out to them. It doesn't matter if you want to admit to the fact that you were a sinner before or not. You are a sinner now, because you're breaking the law of Moses now, and they had to admit to that. And so, from the older, because the older people are a little bit more relaxing about these things. They're not so super like jumping up and down like I am, although I'm older. Some people act their age, others not. And anyhow, so they were the first to then admit to the fact that they were breaking the law, so they can't cast a stone. Till the youngest, ultimately, because the elders left, so they had to admit as well to the fact that we can't cast a stone.